1. Wayfinding. My head is a bowling ball. My job has 3 fingers in my brain, and I pray for the day I wake up and this pendulum life cuts loose and I soar away, up at first, then down with speed and air through the holes in my head, fast toward the obstacles and the dark. 2. Wanting. The rain is at the window and the wind is under, around, over it, so the droplets have no shared direction, but press, alone together, wanting, towards my face behind the glass. 3. Downfall. You can only do so much. 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 See? Even sentences aren't sure what they mean anymore. 4. Retreat. You let the stew and its thick, rich work go on a little longer. You feel the heat rise and draw itself together, steam against the sunless skylight. Cecile McLaurin sings St. Louis Gal, and oh, how you listen. Body taken into the swell and flood of this night and its warm savor. Retreat, it tells you, for as long as this slow-burning match will endure. Sweet. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is the book. And it's basically, it's split into 2 sections, and the first section is really concerned with like childhood, which in the author's note I describe as the most like sweet, sour, or like sore, I can't remember what I wrote, or like tender time in my life, which is to say it's horrible, but also like, great in that way that like childhood is for all of us. So I'm gonna read like a sequence of poems first, and then probably kind of move chronologically through. But yeah, the first sequence, or the only sequence in the first section, is 3 poems called School Poem. School Poem. In the photo above my peg, I wonder at the girl in the photo above my peg so much that at playtime, Miss follows me into the cloakroom. I know the girl in the photo. I see her all the time, and all the time she's doing something different. Miss asks what she's doing now, and I keep my mouth closed because I don't yet know how to say, she runs, screaming, like her name out of your mouth. Operatic, as in needful, like her name out of your mouth. The girl runs from you like her name out of your mouth, miss. You speak her like a blade cut from lead, so she runs, unspooling across the frame and from no place, back again, outline hanging from her, an unhemmed dress. She leaps, billowing, frame to frame, billowing. She leaps, she runs so fast. You look back, and you look back, you look back so fast. She runs, miss. School poem, Bed. And the spoon was in my mouth when I woke, and I didn't ask why, and maybe I should have, but instead I swallowed it, and the cool metal slid down my throat, and the silver was at once within me, like it was never its own. And I found that I could be fed by a tool for feeding, and I never hungered again. School poem. This is the last one. Spilled warm. If we were friends, there would not have been the leash. All of us, dense-boned, trampoline-skinned, we would have knocked knees, danced together, mimetic. Think of Newton's cradle. It would not have always been me outside and uncollared. Prizeless as I am, it would not have always been my coins for your slots. Now I know. Now, I want all of the people who made me feel, because they knew they could make me feel, to feel what I make them. I want the girls who stood on toilet seats and towered over my stool to have the backs of their legs turn cold, run down by their own spilled warm too. Thank you guys. Okay. Everyone's always like, oh, kids can be so cool, but kids fuck you up. Like, kids really just really get in your head. And this is a poem about me doing that to another person to like balance it out. This one is called An Angel Laughing Herself Out of the Sky. Dear God, I have something to tell you. I peeled a girl today like she was an apple. She went bright red and her eyes bulged to hold the pain. You should have seen it. She was upside down, hanging from the metal bars where Caleb fell and cracked his skull open last year. And because she wasn't there to see it, I had to tell her about what would happen to her skull, the brilliant sound of her opening, how it's like when Kaylee hits a rounder's ball, clean and hard, and the ball vanishes into the sun's cold glare. How you can't come back from a crack like that. I told her all of this, and she kept swinging, like I wasn't even there. Goodness and mercy must have abandoned me, God. I wasn't mean. I just told everyone she was mean to me, and then, like a fuse, she went out. I even heard the small animal inside of her hit the ground. As I write this, it must still be warm. She cried so hard that by last lesson, when I looked up, she wasn't there. She cried so hard, she emptied herself in the room. We disappeared her together. God, I felled so many trees, but this was my first body. I wanted to laugh so badly. Thank you. Okay. I, like everyone else, did not check the time before I came up here, so I am going to read one long poem about time, and then I think I might, actually, no, let's say that, and then I'll decide afterwards. But yeah, this is one that I used to read per something, and really like was the one that I like appreciated reading in a space. So it's very long, longer than the other ones. If I can find it. Yeah, and it's called I Tell Time because I feel like that's been a theme of like kind of not knowing where kind of like past, present, future overlap, etc., etc. But it's mostly about my parents. I say it's about time. It's really about my parents, which I guess same way. I Tell Time. Last year, I decided to split this year up. Take time into my untamed hands. I mentioned this to Time over the phone. I think I sent her a voice note like, all you're gonna feel next year, yeah, are my hands around your neck. Time has the darkest jokes though, because this year is now actually made up of stretches of time marked by the loss of a ring. This last stretch ended without a jewel blue one. I tell Time, this is fine. This is fine because, actually, my mother was the first and only real ring ever made. I tell Time, you know, at first I thought, wow, what a horror for that ring to be bound, what loneliness it must feel. But then I grew up and realized, of course it's not lonely, it has her. A person and her ring are like a flag and its territory. No, like a flag and it's a pole. No, like a flag and it's wind. Sometimes the wind changes is in a foul, clouding mood, and the flag tangles, slaps against the pole, tears at the seam. But then, like clockwork, the wind remembers its promise, and the flag is back to billowing, happy to be whatever color it might be, so long as its hands thrust towards, against, around the neck of its beautiful companion. Or actually, maybe it's not like a flag and it's wind, I tell Time. Maybe it's more like a gut and it's swallow. Duh, Time says, that's the joke. So, I keep buying rings, and I keep losing them. I tell Time, you know, my mum wears gold and I wear silver, but the main difference between us is I keep losing rings. I think it's because she's a sun in herself, so each atom in the metal feels light by her, and I am the moon, because I'm so concerned with revolution, I can't see straight. I just want to be that kind of heat, I tell Time, a degree only the center of a sun could hit. I want to be hot and impressive, so a hot ring wants to press to impress me too. And it's because I'm always thinking about it that it never happens. I turn things over in my hands a lot. I turn things over in my hands and they go cold. Sometimes I think I get it from my dad. Something like how he prayer beats his words into cold water for hours before opening up my palm and setting them down gently. We're two sides of the same. He's like when you pull a shoelace and the knot tightens, and I'm like when it falls apart. I remember in PE, we learned that tall people slouch because we have a low center of gravity, and that means we have weaker cores, and so we just slowly stop texting back, start thinking, God, please just clap me like a mosquito and end it already. And then, when it gets real bad, we just let our center sigh and bend our bodies up into little black holes. It happened to me. It wasn't even that dark though, little bits of light kept coming in. Imagine that at all times. Sometimes you think you finally made a little black hole you can call your own. You think finally you're on that train and you're going through a long tunnel. And then you open your eyes. They were just closed the whole time. They just closed the whole time. I don't want to split my ear up, not really. I would like to put time on and wear it for my day, not turn it over in my hands. The more I play with it, the more likely I am to lose it. My mom said that to me once. Thank you guys. Okay. Okay, well, how many? Should I do two more? Is that too many, or I just cut me off anytime? One more. Two more. 6, sorry, okay. You said one, I know, okay. So, okay, if I've got 2 more, then I'm gonna do one that's about crushing. Yeah, that always gets people on side. So this is called Crushing in 6 parts, and I mean, there's not much to say other than I enjoy crushing, and it's a fundamental part of my personality. I think hand fixation is really important for me, and so this is a part about that. Crushing in 6 parts. 1. After one day at your side, I lie down on my front and am broken. 2. Love. If you get past the smell of it, the taste is pretty good. And then you walk, following it like a season, like spring, like bees tapping against an east-facing window, like running from rains that are yet to come. 3. You asked me to come as I am, to enter your room ungilded, unshimmering. We meet, eye to eye, breathing each other's breath, because you say it's not a kiss unless our lips touch. 4. For you, I hold my heart in my hands, a wet fish muscling its way from my grip. What could it be to make a heart of paper and wax, dripping and drying and leaving itself on people and things? Is this it? 5. Now my arms, low and outstretched before me, plead with the empty theatre, implore the empty seats for a stem, no flower even. 6. You made me feel as though I was allergic to air. Take shallow breaths. I wake up and still. My dreams are only rumors. Thanks guys, that's a long one. We're going to end with the last poem in the chapbook, and it's about being on a night out in Southeast London. So it's called Nocturne, and it is a sonnet. Shout out to Pooch again. And they kind of do suck. I wrote it in my notes up on my phone. I was like, they do suck. Like, who said it? It's like the limitation, the whatever. This is a sonnet. And yeah, I agree. But it's about all the people that I love, so I'm gonna channel that energy instead of the form itself. It's like a nice tidy frame. Okay, Nocturne, sonnet for the Southeastern. On the train, my body drops an octave, becomes the color of a candle's fire the night will press out with 2 linked fingers. And the A cab on the new bill between Lewisham and London Bridge is a trip switch, so the Southeastern is not a vehicle, but a portal to Elite and the bar she will be dancing on in an hour, all orange pleather go-go centerpiece, and the body will not be an instrument, but a measure, close to time, if time could ever move like that, without an axis. All praise the bouquet of us in the night, fresh cut, and only as old as we are. Thank you, guys.